Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Oh, gracious. Good morning to you, good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do, and you know why I do it. It is Thursday morning. Made it through the week thus far. It is May 7th, and it's 3:09 in the a.m. I got a couple, two, three things I want to share. One, I changed the name of my YouTube channel because, as I stated yesterday, I have moved away from the intense theological perspective that I was taking, and I'm leaning more toward social justice in my focus and conversation on a lot of topics. Two, I am deconstructing my religion, and I use that term in the broadest sense. Religion, the letter kills, I believe is what scripture says. And I'm coming to realize more and more that I was engaged in a form of legalism as opposed to a form of worship and a form of reverence and awe, of who God is and how God moves. There's some things that we're taught that we need to unlearn. One of the things that my friend and I, both of us, went through some seminary classes together. We talk about, children, pushing children in ministry. And a lot of what's being, I want to say, touted as prophetic or noting a call, is what we call it, on a child's life, is them imitating adults and more adult worship than, an internalized sense of. I'm not negating the call on a child's life. What I am questioning is the adults who push their child to the forefront of something that they're not prepared mentally, emotionally, psychologically, they're not prepared to handle. And I'm going to take you way back for those of you who know, the example of Marjoe Gordner, who was considered a child evangelist around the time of Reverend Schambach and early Ernest Ainsley. So I know these names aren't going to mean anything to certain people. You're going to have to Google these folks. But Marjoe was a child evangelist. And because he was pushed in the forefront, this unique being, it led him to some very dark places in life. So I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at how we elevate folks to a certain status and then get disappointed when they show up human, when we fail to realize we have the same character traits that we don't bother to nurture or study to show ourselves approved. We're waiting for somebody. We're always waiting for a leader instead of taking the reins. Now, we'll take the reins of our lives for the things that we want to do, that feel good, that are convenient. But we're waiting for a leader for the things that impact others, or that will impact others in a positive manner. Because at some point we realize leadership is work. Okay, so I'm going to leave that alone. because I could preach on that all day. Then I'm going to go to something I heard, I want to say last week, that's been stuck in my mind, and I experienced it yesterday. Now, I've experienced it most of my life, but I'm going to speak on it. And I know a lot of you are going to agree with me. And I'm speaking to folks in the alphabet community. And when I say that, it's not a derogatory statement. It's a community I'm part of, the LGBTQI. And for those of you who have never heard me say that, it's LBGTQ. And I've been out for a goodly number of years. I want to say 40 to be exact. So my nephew just turned 40. And then I realized, I was good and grown when you were born. And then I was sharing that his older brother had a birthday a few days before. And I was good and grown. And now they have kids. So I've changed 2 generations worth of diapers. I thought about that yesterday, but that's not what I want to talk about. Let me get into what I want to talk about. So the thing that I saw, the video that I saw that provoked the thought was a woman talking about the invisibility, or I want to say the stark visibility for myself of mass presenting women. Now I know this little headshot here doesn't tell you a whole lot other than, I wear a baseball cap and a hoodie on a regular basis. I'm just me. And I know the world has to have labels. So, here you go. I'm a black. I ain't the darkest black person in the world. I got a ton of freckles, but I'm a black woman. I got the body parts to prove it. Lesbian. Older. And I embrace all those communities. Again, my favorite attire. Now I can dress to the nines when need be, but my favorite attire, jeans, t-shirt, hoodie, and tennis shoes. That's what I feel most me in. I even wear a cap at work every day. So when people describe me, they say, the light-skinned black lady with the short hair. Some still think my hair is ready for this. A Jerry curl. I've showed you my hair. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's a hot mess most of the time, and I hate combing it. Some people think I'm biracial. A great deal of my family is. I am not. So like I said, people have to have labels. Now, I was raised by 2 Southern parents and extremely Southern grandparents, Virginia and Alabama, respectively. I was raised to speak to folks when you come across people, with more emphasis nowadays on speaking to your people. Do all that. But more and more, I'm becoming aware of my entire presence somehow enrages black men. So let me be perfectly clear in making this statement. Bruh, I don't want your woman. Bruh, I'm speaking to be social because you're my skin folk. Bruh. If your woman saw fit to look at me, to comment to me, to have a conversation with me, that's between y'all. I have nothing to do with that. I am not a threat, don't want to be, and I have given you no more attention other than you've irritated me now than I would anybody else that I come across in a day. And I come across a lot of people every day, except Saturday and Sunday. Those are my days of rest. That's when I'm at home minding my business. And I'm minding my business when I'm walking down the street. But you seem to see that as a threat. You know, there are no throwaways in this society, and we need to recognize this and work toward being better. Or as Melania would say, be best. See, I'm past do better to the grammatically incorrect do best.